Here without
Hey, what's happening? It's Alan and Denise,
what's
the
going on.
dynamic duo.
It's Wednesday night training. I feel like we need a theme song, like, Monday Night Football.
We do need a theme song. Yeah, absolutely. That would be awesome. I'm gonna come. I'm gonna have somebody create that for us.
Awesome.
We'll have one for the Monday morning, live at 11, and we'll have one for the Wednesday night.
There we go.
Wonder if we can get what's her name to sing it. You know what I'm talking about? The girl who sings. Oh, she does Sunday night. She does Sunday night. Yeah.
Oh, Carrie?
Carrie Underwood. Yeah. You know her, don't you? Yeah. We'll get her to sing.
Sort of. Well, her brother-in-law was on my team for a short period of time.
Isn't that something? Yeah.
Yeah.
You told me that before. Yeah. So, hey. Anyway,
So,
welcome everybody. We're excited to have you here on a Wednesday night, January. This is our first training on Wednesday night, January the 3rd of 2024,
24, baby.
baby. It's the year, And so we wanted to come to you tonight and talk about a topic that we've been talking a lot about, Denise and I have, and we feel like is very important to talk about, which is how to overcome fear. Because here's the thing, Denise, you and I we talk a lot, but we were talking this morning about, and I did a training earlier today about this, but we were talking this morning about getting people to grow their business and right now it says waves and hello, happy new year, Kathy Arnold, evening, glad to be on. Right now, we're heading into a time to where, Denise, you've been in the industry about as long as I have, but in between 2008 and 2011, there was a huge market shift in the real estate industry. And when you affect real estate, people don't realize the number of people that affects. I mean, you think COVID was bad, but nobody was doing anything. And yet here at Touchstone, we had, 400% growth.
Record. Yeah.
And I sent you earlier, if you look at your Instagram post, I sent you a thing where Gary Vaynerchuk is talking about the wave of the future is healthy nutrition and healthy eating lifestyles.
Yeah.
Did you see it yet that I sent you?
No, I haven't, but I follow Gary V, and
Yeah.
I saw briefly something that he did on that. Hi, Ohio.
Ohio. He must be
Ohio.
from Ohio. But Gary Vee said there's shops in New York that are selling healthy smoothies for $40, and people are lined up.
Oh my gosh, we could help them for so much less.
Yeah. So just like COVID, we're in the right place at the right time.
Mhm.
And now with the economy shifting the way it is, when the real estate market goes down, housing sales, mortgage brokers, banking, construction people, all the people that build houses, the landscaping people. I mean, it affects hundreds of thousands of people that, as you know, we're in an election year too, and they talk about the trickle down effect.
Yeah.
And if you were around this industry between 2008 and 2010, I remember going to an event over in Charlotte, North Carolina, in Huntersville, North Carolina, just north of Charlotte, on Lake Norman. And there were some companies that were just nothing like what we have today. And they would do events in a restaurant there in Birkdale Plaza. Some of you listening to this on live or on the replay remember this. That room sat 75 people. And there were so many people that the fire marshal came in one time and said, "What are y'all doing? Y'all got to stop this." We had people standing outside looking in the windows.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was a crazy time.
Yeah. And why? Because people were looking for an opportunity to earn money because all of a sudden their income was gone.
Yeah.
And so there's a statistic out, Denise, that I want you to comment on. Right. That in 2024, that the average household, and you and I were just talking about this last week, I think, to where if the average household, in order to pay your bills, the same bills you had 3 years ago, you need to be making $700 more a month just to break even.
Yeah. That's an absurd statistic.
And people aren't making that money. People are, and that's why side gigs, side hustles, side jobs, working from home is just hot right now because everybody is trying to figure out how do we survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So what we want to address is this. Is we want to talk about, and I'm going to turn the slideshow on, and if you have comments in there, Denise is going to manage those because when I turn my slideshow on, I can't see.
You can't see the comments.
Denise has taught me this once before, and I still can't figure it out. But anyway, because when I go to the slideshow and I do from the current slide, I can't see y'all, but that's okay because she can. So right now, when you talk about how to overcome fear, fear is a big topic right now. Fear in how you're going to pay your bills, fear in how you're going to feed your family, fear is whether you're going to have a job or not. I just talked to a good friend of mine, and Denise, you know her. She's been with us now for, probably 7 years. She's a mortgage broker. She is out of the country right now on vacation for the holidays. And she contacted me and said, Alan, I have got to get my team. I got to get back into this. She was around in 2008, 2009 with a different company. I was with a different company too. And she said, this market is crashing fast.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we want to talk about tonight is if you're in this industry and you're not building your business and you're not, our business is simple, and it's simple, but it's not easy because it's really, quite frankly, there are going to be so many people, like we said, a room that seats 75, there's going to have 150 show up looking for an opportunity to earn income. We're at the right place at the right time with the right company. We talk about Gary Vee saying, hey, people are buying healthy shakes, healthy food replacement shakes for $40. So if right now it's almost like, I don't want to say that because that would get just kicked off of social media. We have the answer.
We do have the answer. And I love that we're talking about this topic of fear because fear is the age-old problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we all have it. We all have to face it. Sometimes we conquer it. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we let it run our lives. And the truth is, no matter what business you're in, no matter what you're doing, this is at the basis of whether you're doing it or not.
Yeah. Yeah. And right now, and so if you're not, our business is simple, and we with Touchstone have an amazing tools, amazing systems. We've got email campaigns, we've autoresponders, we've got, you name it, we've got it here. And if you're not inviting people, so our system that we have in place that we talk about is pretty simple. And Denise, you and I have been talking about this for years. It's simply connecting with people and inviting those who are interested, inviting those to take a look at an opportunity to improve their lives physically, mentally, spiritually, and financially. And now with the economy the way it is, not only can you get healthy, but you can improve your income. So inviting people to take a look at our opportunity, sharing one of the amazing tools that we have in place for them to look at, and then following up. And you can follow up with them on your own, or you can follow up with one of your upline leaders. If you don't have an upline leader, please reach out to Denise or me or whoever. We'll help you. And then finding out, hey, is this for them or is it not?
Yeah.
So, and I want you to understand something. You got to identify and clarify your thoughts, your feelings, and your action, because we've talked before, what you think about comes about. You're going to make a decision in 2024 to have your best year yet. And there's going to be this is all, there were tons of millionaires made back in the stock market crash days of the late 20s.
Yeah.
20s, right?
Yeah.
And those people that made millions took advantage of the opportunity.
Yes. When everybody else is crying in their coffee, somebody's making money.
Somebody's making money. So you've got to realize what is it that you're thinking about that's preventing you from going out there and making the difference and making a decision. And so I like to say this: when the reward becomes bigger than the fear, you'll take action.
Yes.
And so you've got to develop a new perspective on the idea of failure. And let me explain. I like to talk about baseball for when I talk about this, because
Yeah.
here's the deal. If you bat 300 in baseball, that means you get on base, whether it be from a walk or a hit, 3 out of 10 times, they'll pay you millions
Millions.
of dollars.
Yeah.
Millions. Well, guess what? Sometimes when you come to bat and the score is tied, or you're losing by one, down by one, or even if you're winning in baseball and there's a runner on third base, the coach says to you, hit a pop fly into the outfield and get yourself out. Make an out. You're going to hit an out. And you hit the ball in the outfield, and when you see them do that and the guy catches it, the man on third runs home and scores a run.
It's called sacrifice.
Yeah, it's a sacrifice. That's right. And so you're making a sacrifice. But see, here's the deal. When the guy that hits the ball into the outfield and makes an out comes into the dugout, they're high-fiving him. They're congratulating him because, hey, great, you did great. Well, that's a failure if you think about that. You got an out. Sometimes you bunt down the first base line or third base line knowing you're going to get out, but you're going to move the runner ahead.
Well, it's all a strategy, and failure is necessary. I mean, failure is part of the success process. You can't succeed if you don't fail. Like, you're not just going to all of a sudden succeed without any failure. It's not going to happen. There's going to be failure upon failure. And the more you fail, the more you're going to succeed. It's just statistics.
It's numbers. And here's the thing.
Get comfortable.
Yeah.
Get comfortable with it.
If I said to you, okay, here's the deal. I want you to invite, I want you to work, excuse me. So these professional athletes work, I mean, they sacrifice. They're on the road, they travel, they work, they're on the go. You know, these football players, they get one day off a week. And so they're out there sacrificing, and they've got to give listen, in football, what was the score of the game that the Vikings won a couple of weeks ago, Denise? Was it 6-3?
It was, I think 3-0. It was like ridiculous.
3-0.
Score.
3-0.
The entire game was 0-0 until the last 2 minutes.
So both teams combined ran, I looked at the numbers on this, ran 84 plays, which means 83 plays failed. But one play, the guy kicked a field goal for 3 points and they won the game.
Yes.
So if you look at that, you failed 83 times, but the one time, see, and I coach football, I'm a sports nut. And so I love it. Denise is a huge Vikings fan, and she's not a sports nut, but she loves her Vikings.
I am a sports nut, actually. Yeah.
You got to give yourself permission to fail, because you said it a minute ago, Denise, without failure, you're not going to succeed. I want to throw something out there. What if you looked at failure this way? What if I said to you, listen, if you work 6 days a week, and I'm not asking you to work 6 days a week, but these professional athletes work 6 days a week. And you think that they get paid millions, but they don't. The quarterback does, and some running backs do, and some wide receivers do. You know, Jefferson makes how much money? Millions. But the linemen, the kickers, the punt returners, the guys on the practice squad are making $100,000 a year. They're getting beat up. It's not like they all get paid millions.
Right.
And so, but if I said to you, hey, if you work 6 days a week, and you invite 15 people a day, how long does that take? Not long. 15 people every day, 6 days a week, to take a look at this opportunity, share a video with them, share a tool with them, whatever it is, follow up with them, okay, and then go from there. If you do that 6 days a week, invite 15 people a day to take a look at this opportunity, at the end of the year, I'll give you $100,000. Guaranteed.
Regardless of the result.
Yeah, forget about the results. Here's a contract. I'm going to sign a contract with you, and I'm promising that if you do this, I'm going to pay you at the end of the year $100,000. Your fear you see, the reward would then outweigh the fear.
Yes.
Now you're like,
in most cases.
Yeah. I talked to a lady just the other day in customer support with a credit card company, and I've got this credit card company, and now I pay off my credit cards like every other week, because I don't want any credit. I use them just to keep my credit score up, but I pay them off. So they like, hey, you got to verify your payment because we're worried about fraud. I said, well, wait a minute. Did the bank give you your money? She goes, yeah. I said, so you think somebody's out there in the world going, hey, Alan, I'm going to pay your credit card bills for fraud? Not happening. And so I was polite about it, but I said, I'm confused. And she goes, sir, I appreciate you being nice. Most people I talk to are very rude and angry. Can you imagine that as a job?
No.
So, and here's the deal. So here's the contract. You invite 15 people a day, 6 days a week to take a look at the opportunity. I give you 100 grand. At the end of 2 years, I'm going to give you 250 grand. I'm not making any promises. The results don't matter. At the end of 2 years, give you 250. At the end of 3 years, 350. At the end of 5 years, I'm going to give you $400,000. If every day for 6 days a week for that 5 years, you invited 15 people to take a look at the opportunity, that's all you got to do, and attend events, would you do it?
Yeah, of course.
Why would you do that?
Because it's guaranteed.
Because it's guaranteed.
Yes.
Guaranteed. So, but guess what? How many people of those are you going? How many times are you going to fail when you invite them? You're not going to care. So you got to break down these projects into chunks. It says break down daunting projects into manageable chunks. See, it's simply this: how many people am I going to connect with today, and how many people am I going to invite to take a look at the opportunity?
One of the things that Eddie says all the time that is my favorite thing and my most hated thing. And I tell him this, like he says it and I know he's going to say it.
Yeah,
and I know it's 100% true. And I also hate to hear it.
Yep.
Every problem can be solved by talking to more people. I mean,
I knew you were going to say that.
It's 100% true.
Yeah.
And so if you're not doing that, there's a reason you're not doing that.
Right.
And in your head, I'm sure it's a pretty good reason. It's legit. It's legit. I've done it.
Yeah.
Right. But the truth is, it's not getting you where you want to go. And fear is typically at the bottom of that. So digging down to figure out what it is that's holding you back and shifting some of your perspectives and understanding that, we all crawled, right? And we all stood up to walk and we all fell. Mm-hmm. And we fell again and we fell again. But guess what? Most all of us are walking. It's a good thing. It's a good thing we did not give up. So
my grandson got this little battery powered motorcycle for Christmas and he came flying, and now and the more he rides it, the more confident he gets. So he came flying around the coffee table and clipped his hand on the coffee table and got off and was crying. You'd have thought that he broke his hand. 30 minutes later, he was back on it again.
Yep.
Yeah. So you got to be more mindful and less caught up in the fear of failure, right? And what you got to understand is fear is a natural tendency for people. See, being afraid of fire is not a bad thing.
No, fear is a protection mechanism that we have to keep us safe.
Yes.
So with that said, I'd just like to mention this. Your brain is designed to see change as danger. Mm-hmm. Because it's trying to keep you safe.
Right.
From the days of running from the tiger, or, there's a change, like you can't have change because you have to survive. That's not how it is today, but your brain still sees change as danger. Right. So all these negative thoughts come into your head and it creates fears for you that are not even real.
So true. And the way to overcome those, I forget who I was talking to, and I don't forget. I remember who I was talking to, and somebody said, I'm not going to say that. But anyway, I said, hey, you coming to the mastermind event in Vegas? No. Why? I'm afraid to fly. What? Yeah, I'm scared to fly. Too far to drive. I'm afraid to fly. So let's think about that for a second. Okay. Do you know that it's do you own a car? Yeah. Do you drive? Yeah. Every day? Yeah. Not every day, but I drive. Yeah. Do you realize that you're 10 times more likely to be killed in a car wreck? And I think 10 times is like I think it's a lot more than that.
Yeah, it is more than that.
Yeah. So let's just say it's 25 times. You're 25 times more likely for whatever the number is. It's a big number. More likely to be killed going out there and getting your car and driving than you are getting in an airplane and flying to Nevada.
The thing is that, like, we're not here to debate whether a fear is founded or a fear is not founded. Like, there could be a million examples of fears that are stopping you, but it's what you decide. It's where you decide to let it. It's when you decide to not get back up. Now, yeah, you could be afraid to fly, so you're not going to go to mastermind. Okay, but if your kid was dying and needed you and you had to get on a plane, guess what? Probably you wouldn't say, well, I don't think I can fly. No.
Here's an example.
You'd do what needed to be done because you'd have to set your fear aside.
Yeah. Here's an example that I've heard many times, and many of you heard it too. So if you take a 2x4 and you lay it on the ground and you say you walk from one side to the other, it's a 10-foot 2x4. If you walk across that 2x4 on the ground there, I'm going to give you $1,000. Sure, no problem. I'll walk across that 2x4, no big deal. Well, let's place that 2x4 between two buildings 20 stories high. You just reminded me of this when you talked about your child. 20 stories high. Now, here's a 2x4 between two buildings 20 stories high. Now, if you walk across that 2x4, I'll give you $1,000. Most people wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
What if your child was on the other side of that 2x4 and you had to go over there and save their life?
Yeah. You'd figure it out.
You'd run across that darn 2x4. So the reward has to be greater than your fear or your presumed fear. What is the reward? What is the reward? You know, one of the stories in the Bible, and I'm no expert on the Bible. I don't claim to be, but I do know enough stories to talk about stuff. And so one of the stories in the Bible about David and Goliath is this: is David went down to the army. His dad said, "Hey, David, take some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches down to your brothers." I don't know if they were peanut butter and jelly, but whatever. Your brothers are down there at war with the Philistines, and they're hungry. Carry them some lunch down there. Can you imagine that? Here, carry your brothers some lunch down there to the battlefield. So David gets down there, and you heard the story about he killed Goliath with the slingshot, right? That everybody hears that story. But David got down there, and he's like, everybody's kind of standing around. There's a big, giant 8-foot guy. They said that he's probably about 8 foot tall. On the other side, screaming and yelling and calling them names and talking trash to them, you know? And David's like, what the heck's going on here? Well, that big dude over there says if we come over here, he'll kill us. He's got his armor on, you know, blah, blah. And David's like, well, okay, you know, what's the deal? And they said, well, here's the deal. If somebody goes over and kills Goliath, then the king is going to give you get to live in the palace. You get to marry his daughter. You get a bunch of goats and donkeys and mules and cows. You know, I mean, today we think about cows and mules and donkeys. What the heck? But see, back then that was a big deal, and a bunch of money. So you get money. So David's like, wait a minute. Now I've got this slingshot, and I've killed a lion, and the lion's got fangs and claws, and they're fast and they're quick, and cats and their reaction time. I've killed bears. I've killed wolves that were trying to steal my sheep. And you're worried about this dude over there standing there, and all he's got is a sword, you know? And so, wait a minute. But see, what he says is this. So wait a minute. Let me get this straight. Let me get this deal. And so if I go over there and kill this guy, I get to live in the palace. I get to marry the princess. I get a bunch of money. I get some cows and some donkeys and some goats. Yeah, I'm in. Count me in. I'm doing it. And his brother like gave him his armor. You know, he's only 12 years old, so the armor like falling off of. Can you imagine? He's like, hey, I can't go over there and kill the dude with this armor hanging off of me. Forget about this. So when he goes over there to kill the Goliath, Goliath's laughing at the dude like, I'm gonna just, what are you? Who are you coming over here, right? And so he's laughing so much that he takes his helmet off, with the helmet which covers the nose, and takes it off, and he goes, I'm gonna do it. You're hilarious. Coming over here, gonna hurt me. And David whips out his slingshot, fires a rock, hits him right there between the eyes, and kills the dude. Then goes over there and cuts his head off with a sword, and that's kind of gruesome. But see, what you got to realize was the reward was greater than his fear.
Right.
And so the common types of fear are fear of failure. We just talked about that. But see, the only way to fail in our industry is how, Denise?
To not do it. Listen, there's a lot of common types of fear here, and it doesn't matter what the type is.
Right.
We all have them in many shapes or form.
Yep.
The thing is that you have to recognize that that's what is stopping you, and figure out a way around, over, or through it.
Yep.
And understand that one of the things that I say to my clients all the time when I'm working with somebody on fear is ask yourself, what is the worst thing that could happen?
Yeah.
And if you could handle the worst thing, you're good.
You're good. You're good. And see, a lot of people's fear is the fear of failure and the fear of rejection, especially in today's world with social media. But the people that reject you, here's my thought is when they start paying my bills, I'm going to start worrying about what they say.
It doesn't matter. It's all superficial anyway.
I love what you just said. Every one of these, you can have these, but you got to realize that you can overcome those.
Yeah. So
the benefits to overcoming fears. Denise, we were talking about businesses in 2008, 2000 to 2011, really. And you remember those times in this industry,
Yeah.
What happened to the people you were working with and their fear of, the rejection and the people, what people thought about them and things like that? How did that change our industry then?
Well, the people who let that be a thing did not succeed. The people who let go of that just soared beyond measure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. See, fear is a thought. It's a feeling. And listen, my grandson, Allison, Tuesday night's Taco Tuesday, and my daughter was making tacos yesterday, and my grandson was determined to get over there in the kitchen, and she kept saying, that's hot. Don't touch that. Because he didn't realize that. But see, you got to realize that when you overcome your fears, the benefits of overcoming the fear includes self-confidence, self-worth. So you got to face your fears. Thinking will not overcome fear, but action will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the more you do it, the easier it gets and the less fearful. I didn't like to speak in front of people. Ever. and by people, I mean like three people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, I would be the student that didn't go to school that day if we had to give a presentation because I was sick.
Mm-hmm.
Or
yes.
When I started in this industry, if somebody wanted me to speak at a meeting, I would not be able to go to that meeting.
Mm-hmm.
They cut on to me pretty quick and would put me on the spot, right? And then I would meekly sit at my chair and say what I had to say, but I was terrified. The more I did it, the easier it got. Before you know it, I was having my own meetings and speaking in front of hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people. And it was not a thing.
So
but it used to be a thing.
I want to elaborate on that for a second, Denise, because I know that people, I have said this to you so many times before, I'm expecting one day to open up my phone. It's going to say, guess what? The new Today show, it's going to be today with, Denise Longtin. Because for me, for you to say that your anxiety and your fear of speaking in front of people was so strong that you would not go to a meeting, that you would stay out of school.
Mm-hmm.
And those of you who are listening to us right now and who've heard her speak and hear her, and if those many of you have been to meetings and heard her on stage and seen her up there speaking in front of our team, in front of groups, and she said speaking in front of thousands of people. Can you even imagine? I can't even imagine that you were ever afraid because you're such a natural at it.
People think that I'm joking. No, I was shy. It was a real thing, and it was debilitating. It was, and you're right. The benefit of overcoming those fears really makes a huge difference, and it trickles over to every area of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think that facing some of your fears with regard to your business are going to benefit your business, it will, but it's going to benefit far more than your business.
Right. And listen, if you think you're an introvert, you can do this business. Y'all might think this is hilarious, but I'm kind of an introvert. I really am. I'm not this guy who's outgoing. Our great friend Debbie Stella, who's now Debbie O'Neill, Stella and her friends go out and they go to these restaurants, not really bars. They don't go to bars. They go to restaurant bars. But they go and they'll call me and go, hey, you want to go out on Friday night? And I've probably been out with them 3 or 4 times. But they are just so outgoing and personal. And when I get there, they're always like, I can't believe how quiet you are. And I'm like, what you see in front of a camera and what you see when I'm doing a 3-way call or what you see when I'm inviting somebody to do this business is not who I naturally am.
Which is a great thing to bring up, Alan, because a lot of times people, it has to do with confidence. So when somebody is confident in a particular area, they typically have less fear.
Yes.
When they lack confidence in that area, the fear is heightened. So it's kind of a two-sided thing. You have to identify the fear. You have to decide if it's important enough for you to face it and conquer it. And then the rest falls into place.
You're talking about, you were a slide ahead of me there when you talk about that, name the fear. What is the fear?
Yeah.
Think long term, educate yourself, educate yourself and be around people that have been where you've been. I mean, Denise just said she would stay, not even go to an event if they asked her to speak. And visualize success, be willing to pivot. Sometimes you got to pivot, like if you're making a couch up to Friends episode, never mind. Utilize this. Denise and I share Seinfeld stuff, but Friends is comment to that one pivot thing. But the utilize peer pressure is important. I tell people all the time, if you want to hit a goal, put it out on social media, tell your friends, tell your upline you're going to do it, and find yourself an accountability partner.
Yeah.
People think that, well, Alan, who do you have? Or you don't have. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, Denise and I talk all the time, and Denise is an accountability partner for me. And also she's she's like a mentor to me. And she is because she's somebody that I know that she's had success in the industry. I know she has a different perspective sometimes than I do. And I know she knows what it takes to be successful. So there's times that she and I will talk about things. So you need to find that person that you can communicate with and talk to.
Yeah, makes a big difference.
Huge. We were talking earlier about something that I wanted to bring to this meeting, and she goes, I don't think we should do that. And I said, okay. And then when I thought about it, I thought, she's right. We probably shouldn't talk about that. But here's a couple of things that I want you to focus on too this year in 2024 is this. Have a positive attitude. Be positive. Do not speak negativity into your mind. Into what you speak comes to reality, what you think. Don't speak negative. Don't gossip. Don't talk negatively about yourself, other people, the industry. Never talk, because listen, your mind doesn't know the difference.
Right. Words have power, and your brain believes every single bit that you tell it.
That's why they call it spelling. Because the words can put a spell on you and your subconscious mind. That's why they call it spelling. Don't cast a spell on yourself.
Right.
Practice, prepare, role play, follow others. Listen, find somebody in your upline or somebody who's done it before and follow them and listen to them and then talk to them and role play with them. Gain a sense of proportion and purchase, understand fear and embrace it, because everybody has fear. I do, Denise does, we all do.
Everyone. It's okay.
Don't-
It's just a part of the game, right? It's just a part of our process. And as soon as you embrace it, and you don't need to try to choke it out, right?
Right.
You just embrace it.
Yeah.
And let it flow through you.
Conscious mind on things you desire, the reward, not things you fear.
Yeah.
And so how many quarterbacks has the Vikings had this year?
Too many, Alan. Too many.
The reason I bring that up is this, is you talk about professional sports and see, sports is a good analogy, because here's the thing. And you listen, if you ever been to the side, and Denise, I remember seeing a picture of you on a sideline pass at the Vikings game. When these guys hit each other, it sounds like a car crash.
It is horrifying.
Brutal. And see, one play can ruin your career there. You're done for life.
Yeah, but if you think about that, you will never be able to get through a play.
You'll never be successful. You have to. The fear of the injury. See, the idea, the thought of success, the scoring the touchdown, the getting the first down, the winning the game for them is much more important to them. The reward, and we're going back to this. You've heard me say this how many times in this call? You have to look at the reward, what you're going to get, and the reward has to be greater than the fear.
Yes.
Yeah. And so it's so important to do that. It's so important to do that. We talk about that all the time, and we talk about what it takes to be successful. But this year, let's focus on overcoming fear, being positive, and getting rid of all negativity.
Yes. Well, getting rid of all negativity is a tall order. So, give yourself some grace with regard to that. In my opinion, instead of getting rid of all of negativity, I would like to see us be more cognizant of the words that we're using and the things that we're listening to and what we're participating in, so that we can catch ourselves in the negative cycle. Because once you can identify, then you can reframe, you can make an adjustment, you can step out of the batter's box, adjust yourself, and get back in.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Don't spend time on the negative stuff. Spend time on the positive. And what I mean by that is, if you got to stop hanging around negative people and negative thoughts and negative influence, then you got to do that. I'm not telling you can't hang around people, but don't let them influence you negatively.
Right.
Yeah. Great stuff, Denise. Thanks for playing along.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we enjoyed it. It's 9:12, so we went overtime. Sorry.
Next time will not be overtime.
Thanks, everybody. Let us know in the comments whether you're watching live or whether you're watching the replay, and let us know what you learned from this, and let us know what you're planning to do for 2024. Have a great night.
Have a good one.